Today is September 3rd. It is election season here in Georgia. September 3rd, 1868, Henry McNeal Turner was elected to serve the people of Macon, Georgia. I'm in Georgia, I'm in Atlanta, but Henry McNeal Turner was elected to serve the people of Macon in the Georgia State Legislature. But when he went to be seated in his legislative seat, he was denied his seat along with about 30 some other Black legislative officials who were actually elected by the people of their district. So we had legally elected people in what is supposed to be a democracy, but the white members of the legislature would not seat them. They said that Black people were allowed to vote, but Black people could not hold public office. Here in Georgia, Georgia was established in 1732, so that's 292 years ago. We've always had rich white male leadership in the governor's seat here in Georgia ever since 1732. So that's 292 years of rich white men being governor of Georgia. And so in 1868, that pattern was still continuing with the rich white legislators who decided that Black people could vote but couldn't hold public office in a democracy where the people of Macon, their legislative district, actually had voted them in. White men had a lot of power and still do here in Georgia. In 1944, Primus King went to register to vote. This is 1944 now. He was told that only white people could vote in the primaries. And so he sued the state of Georgia. He sued the Democratic Party and actually won that lawsuit. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court. But a few years later, in 1848, Isaiah Nixon was killed for voting. Some white guys just rolled up to his house, called him outside. When he came outside, they asked him simply, "Did you vote today?" When he said, "Yes, I voted," they shot him dead in front of his wife and children on the lawn of his own house, because white men wanted to make it clear that they did not want Black people to vote. And so September 3rd of 1868 is the day that we remember Henry McNeal Turner and the other Black legislators who were actually kicked out of the legislature here in Georgia. So 292 years later, we still have a rich white guy as the governor, and we still have a load of rich white men in the legislature who are trying to make sure that they remain in power. So we're all expected to pretend that for 292 years, nobody else in Georgia has been smart enough to be governor, or has been hardworking enough or diligent enough to be governor, except a rich white man. We're all expected to pretend that the fact that white men decided that they would always rule Georgia way back in 1732, they decided that they alone would rule Georgia. And the fact that they still do is just a coincidence, because it's never about race, according to them. So if you're like me, you don't believe it's a coincidence. You are not afraid to call racism racism when you see it. Georgia has been in existence for 292 years, and yet the rich white men in Georgia want to still maintain control by making sure that Black people do not vote. A lot of times you think that your vote is not important. If your vote wasn't important, why would they be fighting so hard to keep you from doing it? History matters. Make sure we tell our children the truth. This is Tulani. Peace.